What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
As we'll see.
And welcome to yet another episode of the Acromus
Promise.
podcast. Woo! What another week, man. We are on episode 26 now. 26. 26 weeks into this.
Woo.
26
Look, I'm
straight
so excited.
weeks.
I gotta drop that one.
Yeah, that's
Woo.
whoa. Look at
Ooh,
those.
God, I'm jumping ahead.
Look at those.
We there.
Wow.
We getting there.
We there.
Woo.
Yo, 26 episodes, man. How does it feel?
I mean, like butter, smooth.
It's smooth sailing.
Just smooth going down, man.
Look, man,
It's amazing.
This has been amazing, man. Look, last weekend we talked about holding on to happiness and what that really felt like.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I've been holding on to this happiness for so long, man. Knowing that the episode 26 was coming, knowing that we about to talk about some real great things, and knowing that if you were to just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification button, I guarantee you your life will also be a lot happier than it is now.
A lot happier. And to make that even better, with the cherry on top, we're gonna see if we can sustain his happiness. We're gonna try to sustain Jay's happiness.
Falling already.
Hey, see that?
Falling already.
That button over there we talk about all the time. If you hit it, it is free to subscribe to our content. Free to subscribe.
That's ridiculous.
Join a part of the Acromus community.
ridiculous.
I mean, as you can see, we are full-fledged. We are repping today. Jay, I got to stand up and show them we are full-fledged, guys. We are repping today. So, we want to really dig deep, and we want to make sure that you get the content first. And when you get that content, and if you like it, subscribe to that because you know it's free. Go share that content with someone you care for. Share, you could share it and send it via text.
Yes.
There's so many different avenues of how you can get that content to share. Drop it, just send it to them. Just tell them, yo, check this out. Timestamp the certain parts of the gems that you thought were important to you and share that with someone else, because I assure you that's a way that you're going to make a difference in the life of another. To anyone you care for and you seek change, therefore when you seek change, it's our responsibility to help provide that to others in this community.
Look, I mean, holding on to happiness is tough, right? I mean, there's challenges every day. There's certain habits that you got to make sure that you put into place to ensure that the happiness that you're holding on to is one that you yourself created for yourself. So
Absolutely, Jay.
I think it's a beautiful thing to know that people took that last podcast and ran with it. We got a lot of love on it. We've got a lot of positive vibes on it. And I think for the most part, we are very, very hopeful that you use that and implemented some of those action items that we talked about into your life.
Yeah, I really hope that that's the case, as we're holding on to this joy and we're just sharing it. And, there are different ways that you can do so as well. And to make sure that you take those tools of making sure that you identify what it takes to hold on to your happiness, however that may come, and grow through it. Importantly, grow through it so that you can sustain what's for you. Really, at the end of the day, what's for you. Like we're sustaining what's for us, the Acromus community. And as I said, we're full-fledged in this happiness. So I got to continue to spread this happiness as we get ready to delve into what's next. So, hey, you see us full-fledged in this gear. We discussed it in the last episode. Oh, man, Jay, I'm going to let you get some more joy and happiness. You want to tell them how they can also acquire this lovely merchandise?
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is hot off the presses, baby. This gear, hot off the presses, the acromusstore.com, where you can get shirts like these. You can get tank tops, mugs, leggings, socks, shirts,
phone covers,
phone covers. Don't let that
Yeah.
phone drop again without having a Acromus phone cover on it.
Oh, yeah.
The strongest cover you can find online.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, the acromusstore.com. If you were to go there today, I'll tell you what. Here's what will happen, right?
Check this out.
You want a hot summer, right?
Yeah.
You want a hot summer, right?
Yeah.
I know I do.
Oh, absolutely.
Go to the acromusstore.com right now. You find anything that we have available on that store. You type in the promo code HOTBOD, that is HOTBOD, BOD, you get 20% off
20%
of
off
anything in the
anything.
store. Anything.
That count for us too, right?
Everybody.
Oh, all right.
Anything.
All right. Because it's just we just want to make sure that you know as well. I mean,
Anything.
it looks good in the black as you see in the
Anything.
gray. Anything.
Anything.
Wow.
Any and everything in that store, 20% off. Hotbod, promo code Hotbod, 20% off. You want to be the hottest you out there.
Oh,
So go out and
man.
show off.
Absolutely.
Show
In a
off.
variety of colors too.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
And
Pink,
ladies,
purple,
those
blue,
leggings.
Oh, those are amazing. Look, I was looking at it, I was like, Dad need a new pair of leggings, man.
I mean, look, hey, I'm sure the missus will appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Hey guys,
that's what I'm talking about.
You know what I mean?
I can't fit those, but
Yeah.
my lady can.
See,
why not buy it for her?
Yeah,
it's a hot you summer. Don't forget about that.
I mean, as you see, we're already starting it. So
woo,
Yeah.
styling and profiling, man.
Absolutely.
That's what we do. We got to show off the gear. And most importantly, our community wants to see it, right?
Absolutely.
Community wants to join us.
And hey, guys, when you do decide to go there and you started to rep the Chromas wear in our community, be sure to send us a picture, DM us, let us see the proud part that you have in you to showcase that with the world. We want to give shout outs. We want to make sure that we acknowledge you. We want to make sure the world acknowledge you. We want to make sure that people feel that movement. We want to see those smiles. You want to see those $1 million smiles. We want to see your joy. We want to see that you understand what happiness is and how we're going to spread that through this community as we do each and every week in different ways. So every time you see us, we know that you have a smile because you know what's up. So now we have another way of being able to showcase that to the world, and that's through the form of visualization, through the attire of the Chromas way. So check out that store, guys.
Absolutely. Again, the achromastore.com. It is open. It's open for you. It's open for us. It's open for our community. It's open to anybody. Send people there. Send yourself there. Send your friends there. Promo code HOTBOD will get you 20% off of anything in the store. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's music to the ears. Look, I already have ideas of what else I'm going to purchase.
Yes, I'm getting a whole wardrobe, man. This is just starting off with the shirt.
Oh man,
I'm getting the whole fit, man. Whew. The whole fit.
Yeah.
Wow. Gotta love the Achroma store. You gotta love the Achromas brand. You gotta love what we stand for. We stand for you. We love our community. Yeah. We're here for you. We love to keep putting this content out every single weekend so that you can collect gems and implement them in your life that same day. That is the purpose of putting this all together, because we want you to get a takeaway and use it in your life in order to improve your life, in order to live a more fulfilling one through building sustainable, healthy habits. It's that simple.
Oh,
it's just that simple.
Think of beauty. Think of beauty. So, guys, if you can tell by now, this is how it looks when you're holding on to that happiness and you really have it and you're spreading it, you know? That's really what that's like. It looks good on you.
Yeah,
looks good on you.
It's good on you too, brother.
I appreciciate that. It looks good on you.
Absolutely.
You guys out there as well. It looks good on you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We love to see it. Look. Whew. I mean, this honestly, it required a lot of change in us to get to the stage that we're in.
Yes.
It required a lot of compromises. It required consistency.
Yeah.
It required belief in our messages and to what we're putting out there. It's from the heart. This is unscripted. We're literally giving you a piece of us every single weekend. And it took time to get to this stage because we had to prepare. There are some times in the past where we were not prepared for what we would be into now, right? We know that there's an obligation to get some of these gems out to the general public, out to our community, in order to help them improve their lives as we continue to improve ours.
Yeah.
That's what we feel is vital. That's what we feel is important. So I think preparing for a change like that, something that we knew was permanent because we're not stopping, right?
No.
This is a lifestyle. This is what we do now.
Absolutely.
When you see this, when you see us, you know that it's the Achromas brand, whether it's the fitness side or the Achromas podcast that brings you these gems. By the way, you can hit that subscribe button. You can hit that like button. You hit that notification button so that anytime an Achromas video comes, you'll be one of the first to see it.
And it's free.
And oh, Jesus. I almost
I
got
gotta
through
throw
there.
that out
I
there. You
almost got
guys know I
through
gotta throw that
without
out
that. You
there.
saw that threw me off,
Gotta
right?
throw it out
I'm
there.
not used to that word.
Well, this is for our newcomers.
That is true.
Gotta make
I
sure that
guess they
they're
gotta
aware
know.
too.
Yeah, they gotta know.
Yeah.
They gotta know.
I had to
So,
learn. I didn't know that's what it
well,
was for. I
bigger man
avoided
than
it
me.
for a
Bigger
long
man than
time.
me.
But now I understand the importance of
Yes.
subscribing to someone's
Yes.
content so that I
Yes.
can see it first. And in this
Yes.
particular case, who else better than to subscribe to these gems that we
Mhm.
drop each and every week,
Mhm.
daily,
Daily,
so
all the time.
all the
So
time.
just stay hip to what we're talking about as we
Mhm.
get into it today too, because this one's a deep one, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're preparing for permanent change,
Mhm.
I think it requires a ton out of you. I mean, just a personal story for myself.
Mhm.
Um, as you know, I'm a couple of weeks from getting married. I am a couple of weeks from having a ring in my finger, a lock on my heart, and a lifetime of glory, a lifetime of growth, a lifetime with my best friend. And I could not be more excited for this, right? And I'm sure those of you who are out there who are getting married or have been married for years or have been through this, congratulations to you. I know that you are going to be able to relate to this podcast because there are certain things that we will discuss that you will go back and ask yourself, man, was I ready for that permanent change? Did I prepare enough? Right.
Mhm.
And even you could weigh in on the situation I'm about to go through because you have been in it as well.
Yeah.
So even you would look back and say, okay, are there things that I could have worked on? Or
Mhm.
is there advice I could dish out prior to somebody going in through some type of permanent change, whether it is marriage, whether it is moving,
Yes.
whether it is, there's some that we can't even prepare for, which is the scarier part, right? It's
Very
losing a
true.
loved one,
Yep.
it's losing a job suddenly.
Mhm.
All of those things are more difficult to prepare for than the ones that are planned for that are prepared. So
Yeah.
it's I think for the sake of this episode, I think it's important to really dive into what permanent change could look like and
Okay.
how to actually prepare for that. As I was using myself as an example here, some of the things that we had to do to prepare for this moment, um, it required a lot mentally,
Mhm.
emotionally, financially. It required a lot of time. It required a lot of uncomfortable conversations with certain people that did not necessarily believe
Yeah.
that we would last or
Yeah.
that we would even get this far.
Mhm.
Right? It's been 6 years, 6 glorious years. There's been, as all relationships have, ups and downs, ebbs and flows,
Yeah.
but it led to this moment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that one moment where she got off the plane and it was the very last time I knew that I would not have to be saying goodbye at the
Oh.
end of 2 months, right? That was
Mm.
different for me
Mm.
because it's a whole different approach to what we're doing, right? Everything is about longevity. Everything is about looking forward, planning forward, being ready for what's to come. Before, honestly, I could say mentally, I was telling myself, okay, she's only going to be here for a couple months, right? We're in a long distance relationship. She has to go back and live her life. She has to go back and teach. She has to go back and be a big sister or a little sister. She has to go back and be there,
Yeah.
right? That's where
Mhm.
she has to be, and I had to be here too,
Mhm.
right? I had to continue working. I had to do all of these things. But though we were in a relationship and we were throughout that whole time, there was still a separation physically because we weren't around each other,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
there was a different level of, I want to say, expectations.
Yeah.
There was a different level of unity. There was a different bonding level because
Yeah.
we weren't able to experience all those days, the goods and the bads, with each other, in
Mm.
person with each other, and that is different.
Mhm.
So, in that comes a massive risk because there are things that you may not know about your partner. There are things that there are certain habits that they may have formed that you are not aware of until you are able to spend all those seasons with them. Now,
Mm.
those who are in a relationship that isn't long distance, of course, I'm sure you're able to see those things, but situations change. And with those situations, people go the same way too. So if there are certain situations that came up, how would that person react? If there was a job loss, right? If there was a situation where somebody had to move immediately, and you're in a relationship, and things are changing, those sort of sudden changes, it's tough to prepare for, especially if they're permanent. You may see another side of your partner that you've never experienced, whether it's a 6-day relationship or a 6-year relationship. There are certain things that you may not be used to that may be a deal breaker now, but sometimes you feel like you're just too far in it. You're like, man, we put so much into this. I want to make it work. I'm seeing certain things and I'm like, ooh, this is a little iffy.
Mm.
Am I truly ready for this permanent change? Is it fair to say that I prepared myself for this permanent change enough where I'm at a point that I'm seeing something that in the past I would not let go? I would not say this is something that I can live with. Do you think that there is ever a time where you can truly say that you are 100% prepared for a situation like that? Whether it's something where it's permanent, there's, especially if you're going, let's say use the example of going into marriage, right? And you get to the point where you're nearing it and you see something that's like, oh boy, I didn't know that was that, and knowing yourself, it isn't something that you would stand for yourself. Back when you were looking, back when you were searching, back when you were trying to find love, or back when love found you,
Mm.
it was something that you wouldn't stand for. Is that
Uh,
still valid 6 years later, 7 years later, 8 years later, prior to making something as permanent as marriage?
ooh, I hell, honestly, Jay, I have to take it further because I have experienced that
Right.
life.
Sure.
I'll have to take you into life through in marriage,
Mm,
not even up to that point,
okay.
but because the way I foresee it is when you get to that point, when you say I do, it's a
Mm,
different ball game. It
mm,
is not the same as it was before because you can't bank and cash in your chips of the experience of history you had together because this
mm.
is a new form of commitment.
Okay.
So in that season of commitment, you really have to really understand that you have to learn how to exist with a whole nother being, and you
Mm,
are responsible because you've truly chosen to be responsible with their direction for better or worse.
sure.
Now you get to a point for the question of what you asked for me, where, as it's no secret, I am divorced. So how do you get there?
Mm,
Ooh, right. It's like at some point a decision has to be made for one person or another,
mm,
where I'm opting out of this because I can no longer sustain my obligation of what
mm,
I committed to you,
mm.
committed my vows to for your religion of with how you were married.
Right.
I can't uphold that any longer. So
Mm,
I must let that go.
mm.
Sometimes people go about it amicably and both decide to do it. And
Right.
sometimes some folks are forced to do it. Some cases, one person is ready for it, another one really isn't ready for it.
Mm,
But at the end of the day, you get to that point because throughout that new process of the journey of learning each other,
mm-hmm.
you things were identified where we can't coexist
Mm,
any longer. And
mm,
banking on the season that was is not going to help you in the now. And I could say
mm-hmm.
that because while it wasn't perfect,
Mm,
there was a point in time in seasons for me uh, pre-marriage where I was with my significant other for we were together what
yeah,
5 years is
5 years.
five six
Yeah.
five almost 6 years before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't faced true adversity.
Mm.
We really had, and I'm not saying you need to face
Right.
that, but
I
we
mean,
hadn't
it's
faced
right.
uh the we hadn't faced challenges in depth to the point that it made us realign if we truly were choosing each other to be ready for that next step. We
Mm.
didn't see adversity until afterwards. And
And
I
that's, I mean, sorry to cut you off, but that's difficult though, because you can't really manufacture that,
you can't.
right? You can't, because it's not authentic, even if you tried. It's
Right.
something that you intentionally did to see, are we going to be able to weather this storm?
Right.
So how how do you know that you have been through enough to be able to get through it when you get to the point of marriage?
Um,
Is there a way?
hmm. From experience, yeah,
Mm,
inside when you've had enough, and you can't, you more importantly, you've given all you got.
mm,
You've given so much of yourself that you are not who you think you are anymore,
mm.
for one reason or another. Um, and in my case, prior to that point, there was no way to know. Where in my situation, it was a bit of an anomaly,
Mhm.
as you know, Jay.
Yeah.
I won't sit here and say life was perfect, because we tend to ignore the red flags prior. So in my season of healthiness now, I'm able to identify certain key events
Okay.
prior to marriage
Mm,
for William that should have been, mm, I need to delve a little deeper,
mm.
because uh there's certain things that maybe I need to work on, or maybe she need to
Mm.
work on.
Okay.
But
Okay.
at that point, where I was and who
Mhm.
I wasn't in my truth enough to probably face those things at that point
Mm.
with my partner. And we weren't our communication level engages wasn't what it
Mm.
needed to have been, because we
Okay.
hadn't experienced enough of relationship, adversity. Not
Mhm.
saying, again, not saying that's something you need,
Right.
but excuse me, but what I mean is it from the perspective of development,
Mm.
where
Okay.
sometimes things can come so smooth,
Right.
where you hurdle over things that
Mhm.
should be addressed, and you're not discussing it properly,
Mm.
and you're not forming ways to articulate one's feelings. And that is something that's detrimental to a relationship if you can't communicate and express yourself.
Do you think some people get to a point where they are purposefully blinding themselves from certain things that they see because they fear the failure of the relationship?
Yeah, it's this form of ignorant blissfulness that you go
Mm.
through. It's a real thing. You
Yeah.
you do have that happen, because you just see the end game.
Mhm.
And I was guilty of it too in
Okay.
marriage, where I
All right.
saw the end game, to hell with whatever was happening, because it had more to do with me inward
Mm.
and my traumas
Mhm.
of not feeling like I was enough.
Mm.
So I wanted to hurdle through life to get to that part where I feel like I've made and accomplished it, with the ideal goal of what the family should be. And I'm this,
Mm.
we're old
So,
together, and we watch our
okay.
grandchildren
Okay.
grow up. And in my mind,
Right.
marriage looked like that to get to that point. I didn't realize the events and what could
Right.
come of what
Right.
had transpired. And even when it had,
Mhm.
I accepted things that I shouldn't personally have accepted, because I
Mm.
didn't love me enough, bottom
Mm.
line. So that I can point fingers at anyone else, but
Mhm.
nah, that's on me.
Okay.
You hear what I'm saying? That's a
S-
part of the growth,
Right.
so that you can get to a point when permanent change happen of any kind. You
Mhm.
have to focus on the accountability aspect for you, for your growth.
So that end game was the quote unquote picture perfect family.
Yeah,
Mm.
the idea that
Mhm.
we all have,
Right.
in
Right.
that
Right.
in that I would say, I would hope that if you are with someone that, and you've committed to that degree, and you've decided to have a family and to
Mhm.
create that life, that some form and aspiration should be in that realm if you're thinking of having kids.
Mhm.
What I know now in this season is that having experienced marriage is what you make of it. It's
Mm.
not the idea of the image of what should be. It's what you make of it now.
Yep.
And you're now, because you chose each other, and is what you build on every day. And
Absolutely.
to each his own of how that's formulated and what works with each other, of what you've established to get to that point. I didn't recognize it then. My partner and I, we weren't ready. The
Mm.
truth of the matter is, we weren't ready. I can honestly say that for them as well.
Mhm.
They weren't ready for
Mhm.
marriage. And while I was ready for the commitment of what it represented,
Sure.
I wasn't ready as well, because I had emotional traumas in my life I've needed to should have had addressed prior to that. Like my partner should have had as well, or we should have grown through our communication and worked through how to identify these things to heal, to be ready for the commitment that it was going to require out of us.
So do you think you could have done that prior to marriage, or was that something that should have been done within it?
Well, that's what I'm saying is the idea of like, it would have been, ideal to have worked on oneself. And I could say that from the perspective of the now, where in the future, if I were to ever go into that realm, I understand that all this work I'm doing now is going to be so significant that I can identify in my partner to make sure she's see where she's at, engage it. Where in that season of William, I wasn't ready for it. I didn't know what it was required because I was still in the place of hurt, and I got to a place of codependency in another being.
Right.
And that's and notice how I'm not focusing necessarily on her and her journey. I'm focusing on my aspects of like how it went for me in the cohesion of where we were. And I was only really able to identify these things post divorce, like truly like through the process of it, but like post divorce, but not for the sake of us not being together, but through my journey of healing for William. Because again, whatever transpired was the cherry on top to the metamorphosis that is today, where there was trauma that I had generationally speaking that I needed to address for me that I'm doing now. I'm doing the work now so that I could break these cycles for my children. So, and for myself, because I matter, more importantly. So understanding what all those things look like it's no way I would have known. It's no way that she could have known enough at that point because we both weren't really willing to face what those things were, and we masked and hid within ourselves through codependency of each other until one consumed the other. And I'll leave that part there.
Right.
Out of respect.
Sure.
That's what that was. And I can identify it in my truth to be honest and say that's exactly what that was. So it became a point, so I'm speaking like life before marriage where it was on autopilot. You know what I'm saying? Our relationship was on autopilot and things was smooth sailing enough. And when it happened at Plymouth, when we were married and then we faced adversity, life events happened and we were challenged. Like accountability has to be what it is.
True.
So I'll leave it for what that was.
Right.
But like, it failed. And it was the beginning of the end of our marriage. And at that point, when certain events happen, you know what it is. It's just like some things you just can't recover from because you have to see where the real trauma of it is coming from. And when you're able to identify the root and find out that it was rotten to begin with, you got to uproot it. So at that point, and I remember us having conversations about that. Knowing back then, it just wasn't. Change needed to have happened at that point, but I wasn't ready for it, and that person wasn't ready for it until it all came to a head.
Well, I think even in that aspect, preparing for marriage, a lifetime commitment with somebody else, that is somewhat of a permanent change. But even on the flip side, divorce, that is also a form of permanent change.
Yes, it is.
In most cases, you won't ever go back to that point again.
It'll never be what it was. And the reality of it is it can't be what it was. Just like at the start of the marriage, it can't be what the relationship was prior to that. It has to grow. There has to be forms of growth that has to occur. You have to adapt. You have to adjust. You have to grow individually, and you have to be able to find a way to grow with one another. And personally, for me, I think that as I'm learning now in this season, the importance of bonding with people. We're learning how to bond with someone, but you got to learn yourself enough to be able to understand what it takes to be able to bond with another person by knowing you first, right? So Will can't be what I need to be in that, whatever that season would look like if I don't know me now, like enough to know that I got to continue to do the work, required to sustain this change that I have post whatever that life was.
Right.
Because that's what it was. That was a different life. That was a different time. Just like where you were in your dating phase to the point of when you got engaged.
Sure.
These are different events of history, but they are like its own like lives to me in my mindset. Like it's like it was what it used to be, because it's not the same. You don't deal with each other the same way.
Preparing each and every stage. You're constantly,
and you're growing. Hopefully, you're growing.
Right.
You're growing one way or another, honestly, because either it's going to be healthy, or it's going to be toxic.
Right.
And at some point, those lines get blurred, and if you don't have the tools that you need to weed out that garden, then it's just going to become a mess. And the lines are going to be blurred, and then what? How do you untangle that?
Yep.
Sometimes there are cases where folks out here, they work through it by their truth of identifying issues within themselves to work through it together, whatever the adversity was. And that's what it would take to fight like hell to adjust through that season. And even then, that is a change, because it would have to be something that's a permanent form of working through to sustain it every day, through the adversities and the experiences that you've gained with your partner, right?
That's true.
So that's another form of looking at it, as opposed to, where you get to my experience where divorce was absolute. It became a necessity, because where we were was just we weren't what we needed to be for each other, and things happen that should not happen when you are in a blur of toxicity, and you think certain parts are healthy, and it's a happiness that really isn't, like in our last episode. And you're lying to yourself to sustain enough, because you're not ready for that change of what it represents, because it'll be the hardest damn thing you ever do in your life. Absolutely. Because that part of you dies. So for me, in this season of who I am now, who I was, all I had to die. That because it was toxic for me. It wasn't who I was, and who I am today is who I've always been inward, and now it's out. So I can never go back to what that was. I can never be that person, even if hypothetically you say, okay, we're going to give this another go. I am not that person. And I'm not saying this person, ex-spouse or anything like that. I'm just saying the idea of like, you can never replicate what that was.
Exactly.
And that's life in general as you go through changes, because you're going to always change. However, as Jace pointed out earlier with certain examples, like the loss of someone, where these are not changes that you can prepare for right offhand, where life strikes, you just have to adapt and adjust so you could deal with that form of personal change. So it's important to understand, like, even like in the form of divorce, where it's like, nobody goes into a marriage with the idea that you're going to get divorced. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I didn't go in there with the idea of getting a divorce.
There would be no point of starting in
the first place. I mean, in that moment, that was my forever. That's what I saw above all else. And that's all you should see. The thing I will say is that for better or for worse, either part of that is going to be changed. You've just got to be ready to understand what is going to require out of you. So that either way it goes, you can then begin to make the preparations necessary. But you got to know yourself enough. And me, I didn't know myself enough through either of those processes until like the tail end of it, where I was learning and growing. And I had to, like I said, that part of you had to die. And I can't identify who that was. I can't identify what that life was. I just know that this is my now. And in this season, I'm just constantly using affirmations as form of preparation. Truth, honesty in myself, and loving myself in a way I've never did in my life, so that I remain in my truth to sustain and to work through this permanent change, because it was a life-altering event. And just in life itself, my life was a life-altering event as to who I was. I'm not that person now. So there's different forms of change and how to deal with permanent change, so that you don't open cycles that aren't for you.
Right.
Create habits that become habitual, and there's a form of change, like you said, like losing a loved one, or using a form of like, maybe alcohol, or like,
Mm.
some sort of substance to
Yeah.
get you through that, where, we've discussed that in the past. It's no
Right.
secret. I've referenced that
Right.
I was on the edge of that part of my life where
Mm.
I was creating unhealthy habits, or how I was dealing with things that were just toxic to kind of deal with, uh, you know, suppressing my truth to deal with these tasks,
Right.
because I knew it was inevitable.
Mm.
So I had to fight, and I had to face it head on.
Right.
And for those out there that may find it impossible, and say to yourself, "Well, how do I do it? Like, what's the next step for me to work on preparing when I'm
Mm.
encountering these events that require change of some kind, that is going to alter from what I know now, to become what it used to be." You build tools, you
Mm.
build affirmations, like Jay here has been doing in preparations for his marriage.
Right.
See, that's something, guys, I didn't have.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's important that we share both sides of the spectrum in this
Yeah.
particular conversation, because this is truly a day and night of change, what that
Yeah.
looks like,
Yep.
where we want you guys to understand that, who are in the middle of whatever you're in a relationship, or
Mm-hmm.
of any kind. That's These things happen, these events happen. So
Yep.
he's going about it the right way to prepare through with building affirmations that he needs, and the mantra to kind of help get him as prepared as you can to enter this new phase, because the reality of it is you don't know what it's like until you're there.
That's very true.
And damn, I didn't know what it was like until it was there.
Mm.
And now, life after it, I have an understanding, and I can speak on what I know,
Mm-hmm.
from a place of sincerity, a place of true growth, where I'm not pointing fingers at one end or the other. There are actions that were taken, and people need to be held accountable for them.
Right.
But at the
Right.
end of the day, the actions that a person takes is typically about them, not you.
Mm.
And that's something that you must also identify in the season of change, because you can hold on to something that used to be, in this permanent change, that isn't for you in this season, and it can hold you back from your
Right.
growth,
Right.
one way or the other. Like Jay, you can hold on to past issues and other relationships that didn't go so great as you're transitioning to take into marriage, and that can hold
Mm-hmm.
you back
Yep. That's
and have
true.
fear
That's
into where
true.
you are now.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
you need these affirmations that you got to establish to avoid that from happening,
Mm-hmm.
so that you know that where you are is absolute, so that
Mm-hmm.
the decision that you make, you are making it for you,
Yeah.
because you have to choose this person, not based on them just choosing you.
Right. Right.
You pray and hope that you coming into the same, you both are coming to the dance with the
Right.
same
With the
the
same
same
MO, with the
same
same.
mo,
Yep. Yep.
because that's what's going to take the work.
Yep.
But you'll know once you're there,
Mm-hmm.
and you begin the work at that moment. You
Mm.
begin the work right then and there, because it is permanent change, guys.
It is.
That's what that is. And
Mm.
we deal with it every day in some fashion. We change.
Yeah.
We're changing right now through this conversation, our
Yep.
thought
We
process,
are.
and we're learning from one another.
Yep.
You're learning with us.
Mm-hmm.
And where you go from here is going to be slightly altered.
Yeah.
And hell, hopefully it makes some sort of altering change in you that's for the better, that you
Yep.
could take away from this for you, or with your partner, or some form of friendship, or whatever you have, some sort of bond you have. The goal of this particular episode is growth
Mm-hmm.
and strength, and being ready to be prepared to do what's necessary, so that you can sustain yourself through these changes.
Mm.
And I couldn't be who I am right now if I didn't understand the importance of building these affirmations to hold on to my truth and be me
Mm-hmm.
through my journey and my process. Jay can't be ready for marriage if he's not building himself the right way and being prepared to have learned from prior relationships, to grow through them, to know where he's at in the season, to say, hey, this is who I choose
Yep.
in my truth, to
Mm-hmm.
understand where I'm at in necessity, to understand where they are in necessity, to know, like, all right, what are our pros and cons?
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to continue to work through this process as we transition to the next level of pure commitment to another person that you're dedicating yourself to the rest of your life
The
to?
rest of your life.
Because that's not a game.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, to anyone that's out there, if you're not ready for that, you're not ready for that, be in your truth, to speak that truth to you,
Man.
work through that, compartmentalize it,
Mm-hmm.
and give truth to your partner to assess where you both are.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the end of it, but to discuss these things because you owe it to them.
They deserve to know.
They
where
deserve
your mind
to
is.
know
Yep.
where your mind is at all
Mhm.
times, especially if you are, hell, you committed to a relationship.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get the hell out of it.
Right. There's no point of
There's
being
no
in
point
it if
of
you're
it.
not going to stay in there.
Absolutely.
There's no point.
So change, guys. Like it's important that you really grasp that, and we really want to drive that home this episode because fear is preventing that part of it as well. Fear of like the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, everything you do in life per the next second is unknown. I mean, for all we know, we're recording now and it could cut off right now.
Cut off right now.
We
You
don't
miss
know
all
what'll
the rest
happen.
of the gems of this thing.
Yeah,
boy, that would be a tragedy.
it would be a travesty. But you know what though? It's beauty in the unknown because you write it as you go.
Yeah,
you write it as you go. That's life. You're writing it as you go.
Yes.
So let go. Let go.
That's very hard for a lot of people to do.
It's hard because people grasp to the fact that they think they know what's next. You know, a lot of the times the stress that we put ourselves under and we're holding on to these emotions of things of the past. The past can't help you be to where you got to go in the unknown. It can give you a trajectory of where you've been inward, what work is required so that you can be in a better state as you go into the unknown.
Right.
But you live by that, you die by that. You can't grow, you can't breathe, you're going to sink underwater every time. Any sort of life event and adversity that you face, your thought process is already wrong to begin with because you're not doing the work. And that's what it requires, guys. Change requires work. When you read the 21-3 method, I didn't get to be where I'm at in my state of being in my peace because I took it lightly. I understood that it was going to be everything I had to give every single day if I wanted to grow to attain something better for me. Not for anyone else, but for me. And that becomes infectious and it grows because you got to understand what's for you and you got to want it and you got to push through in anything you do. So for Jay's marriage to be successful, he's going to have to push harder than he's ever pushed for him.
That's absolutely right.
His wife to be is going to have to push just as hard. And first for them so that they can hold on to what it requires to work with one another in that unity. And for me to be as part of that support system, I have to continue to develop and grow in myself to keep uplifted in what that is because I've had the experience. So I should know better to give what's healthy and what's right in this healthy season of mine because that's what's important. So it's like identifying what change is going to require what that means to you. Like, who are you to you?
I think that takes a ton of emotional maturity to get to that point.
It takes everything, Jay. It takes everything. It's going to take everything you got. And it's because you're so damn worth it that you got to do the work, guys. You're so worth it, man.
It's the only way you're going to move forward. You have to do the work. There's no easy way
in life.
There's no magic pill.
Nothing is going to come easy for that. No, if it came too easy, then its chances are it's not for you.
It's not going to be for you.
So
it's not going to be for you.
Anybody that you see that's gotten to a level of enlightenment such as this, they went through hell. They had to break. They had to snap inward to say, scream enough. I can't do this no more. I can't live this life who I was because it's not who I'm supposed to be. So this peace that you see, that people seek, you have got to give your all for you. And
I mean, you literally, it's like you're preparing for permanent change each and every day. Each and every day. There's no one moment.
That's it.
There's no one moment.
Because again, the second of the next is the unknown.
Exactly.
So that's it right there.
That's literally it. If you wanted a key, if you wanted a gem, if you wanted to hear exactly what this podcast is about, that's what it is. This is a daily thing. This is daily growth. You are preparing for that permanent change every single day of your life. Once you commit to that thing, especially something like marriage, especially something like moving, starting a new career, you commit 100% to it because each and every day is going to be a struggle. Each and every day you're going to have to dig in deep to find out what you are made of. And each and every day you're going to prove it to yourself. Each and every day. So you better come ready each and every day.
Absolutely. And more importantly, keep in mind that you're going to learn
Mm.
one way or the other. And at that point, accountability is on you.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's what life is about. It's about learning. It's about growing. It's about challenging yourself.
Yes.
It's about pushing. It's about seeing what you are truly made of. Right?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
That is so amazing to do.
Absolutely.
Like that's why you have life right now. That's why you are still here listening to this podcast, because your destiny is yet to be fulfilled.
Absolutely.
You have a beautiful, beautiful amount of life left to live. And it requires so much energy. It requires being prepared for that permanent change every single day. It requires effective communication. It requires emotional maturity. It requires so many habitual efforts to get to that point. And you must continue to move forward each and every day. Now, you don't have to get to the finish line in the first minute. It doesn't require that.
Well, see, that's the problem right there, Jay. It's the idea, the conceptual idea that I'm gonna get to there now. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know what that looks like. So stop. Like, just stop planning that part of it. Like, we don't know. And I say that from experience, because that's what I had done my whole life, where I mapped everything out, and it had to be this way, that way, this way, that way. And that was a problem for me, and caused me problems in my marriage in certain areas. To be in my truth, I own that.
So it's like
I own
a rigid path that you had planned, you had written out
because of my trauma. And I said, this is the only way that I'd really be a success if I do it this way. And everyone along the ride is gonna come, and they'll appreciate me then.
Damn.
Yeah, that'll win them over. Yeah, that'll make sure that they know that I'm great. Right. I don't know. That thought process, and that just kills you. So it's like, now I let go. Now I'm in my moment. I'm in my now every second. So you want to know why I've attained joy? I've attained a sense of enlightenment because I choose to be in the unknown of what's next. I choose to live. I don't exist in my past. I live in my now.
Hope y'all writing this down.
So that's what it requires, guys. It's gonna require you to shed what was. Shed who you think you are to become who you're supposed to be.
Right there. Get that tatted on you, because that's real. That's real. Wow.
Just that.
Oh my God.
And that's the truth. That's why the 21-3 method is going to be so valuable to you when it's ready and it drops. Continue to follow this journey. Continue to follow Jay's journey.
Yep.
You know, these aren't just words. Words has been spilled. These are true emotions, and you know it, you see it, you feel it, you know the difference when it's genuine. Because the reality of it is people are living in this surreal life, and they are so fixated on these images of what you see on TV or what you see on social media that people don't know how to be them damn selves. They don't even know who they are. They can't even look themselves in the mirror. You saw how people responded to COVID? Did you see how people responded to COVID?
Boy, let me tell you what, I almost had to use leaves to wipe my own ass.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, people lost their damn mind in different ways, and they couldn't even be in the idea of like being sheltered in because they didn't want to face themselves. And the reality is, so many people don't like themselves.
They weren't prepared for that permanent change.
Brother, let me tell you, when it happened to me, I was in the midst of the madness that I had to deal with. I was still married then, and it was bad. And I remember the day that I had to. I remember the day where our office shut down, and I remember where I was, what was going on, the state of mind I was in, and the last thing I wanted to do was go home. Because in that moment, I'm thinking it's because of what I was going through, but the reality was I didn't want to have to face me.
So not even home was home.
No. And now I'm understanding the idea of what home is what you feel inward here in your peace of your solitude and you.
Godly.
So that's the difference now.
Oh my.
That's the difference, Jay. You see the growth?
Yeah.
You feel the growth?
Y'all, I mean, if you don't have your journal right now, taking down notes, man, I mean, you are missing out. You're missing out on some gems. This is all free. People should be paying for this. I said the F word. I can't believe I did that. But I'm just being honest. Like, the stuff that you are putting out here, there's so many people that are living lies. And so many people that need to hear these words, not just the words, but knowing that you are living by it right now.
If you think this is a joke, check out my IG page.
Check it out.
It's
there.
public.
It's there.
Intentionally.
It's there.
So that you can see what growth is, what it requires, like the emotions of it, like where it's raw and it's real and it's authentic, because this is a part of my legacy. This is part of Jay's legacy. This is what we're leaving here. So when we are long gone, we are still making a presence, right? They always say, how does it go, Jay? You're never truly gone until the last person that remembers you no longer exists. So this legacy that we're leaving behind, this is what we're putting here. So this isn't all just for show, because people will stumble on this. As long as there's a form of social media to be as an outlet, people will find this. You may not find it today or tomorrow, but it will come. And this will definitely help change lives. And this is why we decided to do this.
Right.
So you may see us repping this and all what it stands for, but it's bigger than that.
Much bigger.
It's so much bigger than that. And I believe each and every one of you that are watching this are so damn worth it. We see the potential in who you can be. I don't have to know you.
Right.
To know what's inside you, because I had to learn what was inside me. So do the damn work required to be the best you that you need to be for you, for the next generation to come, or for those that are a part of your support system. Be what you need to be. And I promise you, that sense of enlightenment and joy that you're seeking, where we discussing or holding on to happiness and building the right affirmations and everything that comes along with it, you're going to be your best self. I can't tell you how many people tell me I look like I've reversed aging.
Damn.
You don't just get like this. And dig this. I got to dig deeper, Jay.
Sure.
Look in these eyes. You see the smile, but there's still pain here. It didn't go away. These things, these events and stuff you go through in life, through the permanent changes, didn't go away. They're still here. They're very real. I still have my emotions. I still shared my tears. But you know what? I work through the adversity of it, and I find the joy and the beauty to learn how to dance in the rain as the storm is happening. I don't run from it. I run towards it, because I know that I'm going to grow through what I go through. And that's what you got to do. You can't run through these events in life because it's too hard. It's too difficult, because they're going to happen one way or the other. It's inevitable. This journey, this path is already written. We got to live them. And our actions, we have to be accountable for them, to know that the decisions we make are going to alter our direction, but we own it so we can grow through it, build those tools, prepare for it so you can deal with the permanent changes that are going to continuously happen until your last day. So be ready, man, because others are watching. People that you love and you care about, you may not think you care about yourself, but you got other people out there that may care about you. And in some cases, I had to learn they cared about me more than I cared about my damn self. So how could I be what I say I am? And how can I be my best self? Oh, how can I be good to you if I ain't love me?
Absolutely.
I didn't know what that was like. Oh, man, I went so many years like that, guys. And I know some people out there right now that's going through the same thing. We've all been through it. But the difference is that we choose to do the work. We choose to fight. And that's preparation in itself, fighting through the person in the mirror, like fighting that person, looking yourself in the mirror and saying your affirmation to yourself, especially when it's the hardest, not when it's easy, especially when you got those tears coming, especially when you feel a hurt that you never felt before in your life, especially when you just feel like you can't take another breath, especially when you just collapse to the ground. You fight. You say to yourself, I'm still here. I am still here. So what do I do with that next second is up to me. So what do you do for change? What do you do to address that change? How do you prepare yourself for it? We just gave you the answers.
I hope you're writing that down.
And if you weren't writing it down, re-listen.
Keep this one on repeat. I think this one went to a whole other direction. There were so many gems in here. I got to go back and write some of this down. I got to come back and revisit this podcast. I mean, honestly, I'm going to be honest here. I did not know it was going to get this emotional. I really didn't know it was going to get this deep. But that is the beauty of communication. That is the beauty of trying to understand how to prepare for permanent change. And that is the beauty of learning from somebody who is literally the embodiment of permanent change. I think this vital information is something that you can take away today and use it in your life today. You don't have to worry to come back to some other session. That's never going to happen. You don't have to worry about paying $2,000, $3,000 to hear some of the best advice that you can find online, bar none, from people who have experienced the same thing that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that you're going through it too.
Yeah.
If you haven't done it yet, it's going to happen. It's going to come. If you just, regardless whether it's relationships, whether it's moving, whether it's losing loved ones, all of these things are going to affect each and every one of us someday.
Yes.
It's inevitable. So why not prepare yourself for that permanent change? Why not prepare yourself for what is to come by taking advice from people who have already been through it? It makes no sense to go about this alone when there's a community here to support you, as we always are. We're here every Sunday. We've been doing this for 26 weeks now. 26 weeks we've been coming here. We've been in this basement. Either you've been at your place, I've been here. We're here together, and we're bringing you some of the best gems that you can find online for free. The best gems. You can't Google what we're talking about and put it into your mind as we're giving it out to you.
Yep.
It's just impossible because it doesn't exist the way that we're giving it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have found the Acromas podcast, you've come to the right place. If this is your first time here and this is the episode that you're coming in, wow, the bar is set high and it'll only get higher from here. If this is not your first time and you're coming back, once again, we welcome you in. But I got to tell you what, if you are not familiar with this name yet, if you do not know what it means, what it stands for, or even how to spell it, well, let me give it to you yet again. ACHROMOUS. ACHROMOUS. Write that down somewhere. We're going to be here for a very long time. Allow this to be a permanent change in your life. This therapeutic session of two Black males who are living these experiences coming to you on a microphone, on a laptop, with a light shining in our faces, because we want to share these gems with you to build our community, to help build ourselves, to help make a better world for not just us, but our future. This is why we're here.
Absolutely. I owe it to my kids.
Absolutely.
I owe it to myself.
Yep.
You owe it to you.
You do. Wow. Like I said, man, this was an episode that I did not expect us to take this turn, but it was needed. It was needed for us. It was needed for you. And is needed for anybody else who stumbles across this video now or sometime in the future.
Absolutely.
We thank you. We thank you for coming with us and joining us on this journey. Again, if you are watching us on YouTube, you hit that subscribe button. You hit that like button, because I don't even know a freaking way that you couldn't like what we're giving out. I'm going to be honest with you. Hit that notification button too, so you don't miss gems like this one.
And you know it's free. They know it's free, Jay.
I'm still not there.
Oh no, they know it's free.
They know it is that.
It's free.
That is right. We're giving it to you.
Just like the gems we're dropping.
We're giving it to you. What more can you ask for? What more can you ask for? I do have something that I would like to ask for. And I would like to ask it for you guys out there. Tell us the most difficult change that you've had to make thus far in your life. The most difficult change. Something that you knew was permanent, something that you struggle to face, something that you struggle to come to grips with. A permanent change in your life. Tell us your story. That story will be featured on a post on the Acromas podcast page. We will tell your story to the community. And that community will help you through your permanent change, because again, it is going to happen. It is daily. Mm-hmm. This is growth. This is you should not stop growing. You only stop growing if you're 6 feet under. If you're not, you continue to grow. You continue to change. You continue to expand. Continue to fall deep, deep, deep in love with yourself. Continue to understand that you're worth it. Continue to understand that you matter.
Absolutely. You're so damn worth it.
Boy, This one was different. I swear, I said it 3 times already. I did not know that this was going to go like this.
Oh, just as another reminder, we're not wearing this just for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go and you purchase this attire, this merchandise we have, now you know why.
Yep.
Now you have the why. Now you understand the purpose. If you didn't get us before, I hope you know now.
Wow.
Let's get this moving, guys. Let's reach more people.
We have to.
Let's make a difference.
We have to. We have to keep growing. We have to keep building as a community, and we will.
Absolutely.
By God, we will. This consistency ain't for nothing.
No.
You see this in front of us here, it wasn't always like this. No. This camaraderie between each other, the ability to go back and forth in these conversations without having some type of script in front of us to tell us exactly what we're doing.
Nope.
This wasn't here. Nope. There isn't. This was not here. We had to do something within ourselves to be able to be ready for this moment. We had to prepare for this permanent change that you're seeing here. All of this, we had to prepare for that. And with that preparation, we knew that we had to step up the game in confidence. We had to find confidence in ourselves. We had to find confidence in what we were putting out there. We had to find confidence in putting ourselves out there in general, right? I mean, the first time you got in front of that camera and spoke your truth, you had to find confidence within yourself. You had to believe in yourself to be able to put yourself out there, knowing you will be judged, knowing there will be people that would hate on you, knowing all of those things, and you still did it, and you're still doing it today. Yeah. You had to build that confidence at some point for them to see the Will C that they're seeing sitting next to me. You had to build that confidence at some point to see the J.H. Gibbons that is sitting right here in front of you. All of that takes time. All of that takes growth. All of it takes permanent change every single day. The only way you can get to that part is to build these healthy habits and to learn how to build confidence within yourself.
And I think furthermore, at this point, like the reality is this, guys, if you're truly seeking it, I got one question for you. Are you ready?
Don't answer that right now. Don't answer that right now.
Not yet. Think on that.
This is too emotional of a podcast for you to be like, I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's go. No.
Process it.
Process it. Yep. Take it in. Really understand what ready looks like before you even take that first step. Before you even, you need to determine what 1% looks to you. And you have to understand that you got to be ready to take that 1% every single day, not just once in your life, not just every once in a while, every single day.
Yeah.
Are you ready for that? Are you ready? I got to tell you what, next Sunday, we're going to bring that fire again. We're going to teach them exactly how to build more confidence in yourself. But we're not just going to give you some stupid theories or some ideas. We're going to give you actionable items that you can practice that same day to help build more confidence in yourself for any avenue that you need to prepare for in your life.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be available for them for free. I said it. I had to say it this time.
Change.
There it is. There it is right there.
It's habitual, guys. How you decide to deal with it is up to you.
Absolutely. It's all up to you. Remember that. Remember that it's always, always up to you.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a great week.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful Sunday. Take advantage of it wherever you are in the world. We thank you again for listening to us. Until next time, I am J.H. Gibbons.
And we'll see.
Peace.
Peace.